Chicago police officers accused of unlawfully stopping and searching drivers along the Mag Mile.
It's a controversial enforcement policy, but it's also capturing illegal firearms and suspected criminals.
Investigative reporter Liz Nakey here tonight with a closer look at this. Liz.
Judy, that historic Mag Mile boasts high-end retailers. It's a must-see for shopping tourists. But for some Chicagoans who talk to the I-Team, the Mag Mile triggers memories of traumatic encounters with officers. Chicago police are now reviewing a controversial policing tactic and its value in keeping the city safe.
Your vehicle? Is this my vehicle? Yeah. Okay.
It started with shopping on the Mag Mile.
Lower the windows, how please on your vehicle? Or what?
It escalated quickly.
Step up. Come on out. We're working out. Get out of the car.
I was so scared. I had my phone in my hand and I was trying to say, "Hey Siri, call Dad."
Desmond Northington says he was picking up an online order parked in a 15-minute loading zone when Chicago police officers stopped him. In a matter of minutes, Northington says he was handcuffed and moved to the curb while officers searched his vehicle.
What'd they find in your car?
Nothing at all. Absolutely nothing.
Officers eventually allowed him to leave without any charge or citation.
People were recording me. It's so humiliating.
Critics call these pretextual stops, a traffic stop that allows officers to investigate a crime unrelated to the original alleged traffic law violation. Chicago police stopped Northington because he failed to turn on his hazard lights in that loading zone. But in their stop report, officers said they had, quote, probable cause to search him and his vehicle because Northington's actions, they said, were, quote, indicative of engaging in violent behavior.
I feel like I was profiled. I'm young, I'm African American.
From the very beginning, you could tell this guy was just like anyone else, sitting in his car, not doing anything that would provoke any sense of danger.
Northington has now sued the city. The city's law department and Chicago police wouldn't comment on pending litigation. In court filings, the city and officers involved denied any wrongdoing.
Dude, we do this about 100 times a night. You think you're the only one?
The ABC7I team found 3 of the officers involved with his stop have separately been named in a total of 6 other lawsuits since 2019. We're not naming the officers because they haven't been charged with a crime. Those lawsuits resulted in more than $100,000 in settlements and discipline imposed on some officers. Discipline not for the stops themselves, they're allowed under police policy, but for the officers' conduct during those stops. Like this one in 2021. 2 of the officers in Northington stop pulled over 2 parents with their children in the car just off the Mag Mile for idling in a no parking zone.
Step out the car. You know what?
When officers searched the car, they found no weapons or illegal contraband. The father was arrested for reckless conduct after pushing an officer during the stop. Those charges were later dismissed. The driver sued Chicago police. In court filings, the officers denied wrongdoing, but the city paid $100,000 to settle. One of the officers was suspended for a month for use of profanity.
I think the police are acting on a hunch and then justifying it based upon what might be discovered after a search.
The ABC7I team analyzed Chicago police data from stops conducted by these 3 Mag Mile officers. Since 2022, out of nearly 800 investigatory stops, 84% of drivers pulled over were black. 25% of all drivers were arrested. Officers reported finding a firearm in 13% of the 800 stops, though it's not clear how many weapons were improperly stored or illegally owned. Citywide, guns were found in just 5% of investigatory stops since 2022. We asked UIC law professor Hugh Mundy to review the footage from these 2 stops.
When people are stopped without reasonable suspicion or probable cause, the city does not become safer. The city becomes more fractured.
The city's Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability has proposed new restrictions on when officers can search vehicles. Some city council members worry it would enable criminals. Superintendent Larry Snelling has said there have to be limits to any reform.
We have to be very careful about going outside of the law and making our policies so restrictive that our officers can't make stops that are going to keep the public safe.
My father's a police officer.
Your dad's a police officer?
Yes.
What does he think of this?
He thought it was outright disgusting. If every person that they pull over is treated the way that I was, I could only imagine the fear and trauma that society would have against police officers.
Another law professor who reviewed the footage from the Mag Mile stops but did not want to go on camera told the I-Team both drivers' verbal and nonverbal behaviors were the catalyst for escalation in these traffic stops. Measures like handcuffing a driver during a search, he said, are in place to protect both the driver and the officer during searches. Now remember, in the past